Okay, the last step, we're going to put the handle and the gears onto our model. Best to start with the handle because you can let the glue dry on it first of all. So the handle is here in the cutout sheet. There are two halves to the handle, so you need to glue those together. Tiny bit of glue, don't need to be too sparing. Oops, and put the two halves together. And it's best at this stage to put the handle in just to make sure they line up. Takes a little bit of pushing in. And also just put this thick rod through to let them dry, but probably best to take it out again. You don't want to glue the handle onto this quite yet. Okay, so we'll leave that to dry for a minute. Now the gears, firstly the large gear goes on, firstly you put a washer onto the shaft at the driving the cams, then you put the large gear on, and then finally one of these little wooden rings. So you want to glue this on, a little bit of glue on it, and pop it onto the shaft. It's quite a tight fit, and push it down. Just check that the model still spins. You don't want the gear wheel to actually be hard up against the model. You want it to be a tiny little way away. Okay, and try and get it reasonably straight. Now the other side, you want to pop a washer, a small cog and its doubler, a little wooden ring, onto the end of the shaft, and you want them right up at the end of the shaft because the shaft is only just long enough. Okay, and pop that into your model through the holes there. Okay, so that should all turn nicely. Check that it does. So the washers are in here, making sure the cogs don't actually rub up against the model. And just for speed I'll hurry it up a bit. I would normally wait for the handle to dry. Whoops. Pop a washer onto the other side of the shaft. Then what I would do is pop one of these doublers on, just to keep the handle away from the model, so there's a little bit of clearance, and then pop the handle in place. Now you can add a bit of glue to that as well. Sorry, I haven't done that very well. So a little bit of glue on the hole in the handle. And just push it up until it's reasonably tight. I've got a little bit of a gap there, so I'll just push my model. There we go. And just check that it moves freely. Mine's a little bit on the tight side there, so I'll just free it up again. I'm going to make the adjustments before the glue dries. And there we have it, the handle's working. If you want to, you can put a tiny bit of cyanoacrylate on the two cogs here to make sure they don't spin. I think mine are perfectly okay with the wood glue that I've used. Cyanoacrylate or Gorilla Glue, whatever, but the tiniest amount. You don't want any of it to get onto the rest of the cogs or the rest of the shafts. Just check it turns reasonably well before the glue dries, and there you are, you're done.